Hey, what's up, everyone? Woo, I gotta shave, don't I? Wow. So, I'm not sure what topic I need to be talking about or want to talk about at this time. I do know that it really is challenging to be, I want to say, an uplifter. It's like when you meet someone that has amazing potential and like a beautiful spirit, but they really don't live up to it, I guess. And it's really sad to me, to be honest, because I've been that type of person that will see people and kind of latch on to them and try to be a good example on how to have integrity and how to be motivated just by doing so, because I am a very motivated person and do carry a lot of integrity. I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, because I have fallen short a lot. I mean, that's just what we do. We fall short in order to learn stuff and try it again, you know? I mean, that's life. That's our life here in this third dimensional 3D setting that we're in. And, you know, I had to make a hard choice recently to just allow someone to go, to not have that attachment anymore with this person, and to call it quits, to call it good, because in my mind I felt like I put a lot of effort into this relationship and everybody wants reciprocation. I necessarily wasn't looking for that, because I know how this person is and has been. So I try to keep my expectations low. Sorry about the noise, I'm at work. Sorry, distractions everywhere. So anyways, back to this whole whatever it is I'm doing. I don't even know what I'm doing. This person actually talked me into making a YouTube channel too. And we were going to combine our tools to make something unique, or try to make something unique for people to help others grow and use different entities to help them. And I got to tell you, it wasn't what this person was practicing I tried to resonate with, and didn't. As a matter of fact, watching this person connect with entities and seeing how this person's life is going, I wasn't too impressed with some of the results. Granted, shadow work is shadow work. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes integrity to do shadow work. The thing about that is, when do you see the results? That's the question. And the thing with that is, sometimes you need results right away. I talked to another friend today, talked about divine timing. And when I met this person, I just had to release from my energy. We thought that our connection was, in fact, divine timing. And I guess it was to a degree of learning. Like The things I've learned from this relationship has been very huge for me. At the same token, though, I've been in a similar situation actually a couple times, because I'm that guy who tries to help others improve. That's just my nature. Not talking myself up, not trying to be arrogant or any of that. That's just how I am. That's how I've always been. And so in this relationship, with the idea that we connected in divine timing to learn something, and for me it's been that way with all the relationships. It's a divine timing to learn something about yourself, or myself. That's how it's been. And insanity is, of course, doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. Well, in my mind, I had the utmost faith, and I still do have faith for this person, that they'll one day, even though they're up there in age, they'll one day water that seed I planted and allow it to grow within them and find that motivation and that integrity to live a better life, or a more happy and joyous life. Because this person, no matter what happened or what was given, always found something to be ungrateful for within the scenarios. And I think it all has to do with the company she keeps inside of her head and her past. Getting past the past is rough. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But this is hard, because I told this person I wouldn't give up on them, and I haven't given up on them. I still send them energy. I still send them good vibes. I just don't talk to them. Because I don't trust them. I don't think they're where they need to be. And I don't think that I need to be in this person's life anymore to try to convince them. I did my job as far as planting a seed goes. Unfortunately for me, and this is because I am a sensitive Capricorn, I got a little heartbroken over it, But what made it easier for me to make this decision was not being able to resonate with the dark entities she uses to get through things or accomplish things. I was almost convinced at one point that Lucifer and Lilith had brought me to her to help her. And I see it's not true now. We can make anything our reality. All we gotta do is believe in it. We can placebo ourselves into thinking something as such as. I feel like this person was just given the gift of desperation to have a reason to get out of a certain situation with someone else, and she saw the perfect opportunity and took it with me. I know the story doesn't make much sense right now, but as I go, I'm hoping it will. And so earlier on, I talked about, when you give and a lot of people expect to have another person reciprocate whatever things they do for another. And that's an expectation that causes resentment right away if that expectation or that reciprocation isn't filled. So I was up like at 4 this morning trying to wrap my head around some things because something didn't feel right with this other person. And I sent out some texts to this person, not expecting to get an answer right away, but not expecting to get ignored either. And that's exactly what happened. I got ignored. I actually got her to pick up the phone, but I think it was by accident. And she hung it up. And at that point, I just felt a little played, a little deceived to some degree. Trying not to have expectations of things is really tough, But I find that when I do that, I don't get hurt as much, and I don't take things so seriously. But back to the reciprocation part, I don't always expect reciprocation back from another person when I help them, because helping them helps me, and that's the goal. It makes me feel good to be able to help somebody, especially when I'm in a position I'm in and I'm struggling myself. I can still help other people irregardless, and that lessens my struggle. It helps me. So, but not only did I not get reciprocation back, the person was ungrateful and didn't have any qualms with her being ungrateful. Just how the person is. But me having faith and high expectations, I guess, that eventually, granted that things don't happen overnight, but eventually I would see a little progress, because it's so weird when we first actually started hanging out, and this is probably the downfall of everything. We were using acid a lot, or I was using acid a lot, so I was perceiving things in a different light, and everything seemed positive. And then when I quit, I went through a depression because I wasn't receiving the chemicals that acid would produce in my body. And so I went into a depression. And the person I was with would naturally go into depression modes. And so we would feed off each other in that way, I feel. Very unhealthy. It just wasn't anything like I thought it would be once we connected on a deeper level. And she had even told me at one point that she wished she had never gotten with me intimately, then things would be different. Things would be better. But I feel like the drugs had a lot to do with it at some point. Even though I was always able to express and pull through with integrity of doing things I said I would do, I just couldn't sit and wait much longer, because I don't think this person put themselves in my shoes where I was at, what I'm doing right now. And I've been in way too many relationships in the last year. I've been through 3. Yet they were small. The last 2 were small, but they meant a lot to me at one point. I wanted to live a life with these people and grow and build. And because of expectation and or a lack of empathy, things didn't work out. Whether it was on my side or their side, because it's definitely a two-way street. There's something that we're both either not doing right or totally missing. And I still think about it, and if anything, I think we were at one point both trying to help each other in all the scenarios. And at the same time, I felt abandoned in 2 of the relationships, where one was going on for about 2 years, and she decided the lifestyle I was living wasn't for her, and she wanted to be more stable, and went 4 hours away from where I am. And I thought it would be fine for a minute, but then it just wasn't. I was in a lonely state. Again, homeless, living in my car. Not really homeless. When you have a car, it's a lot different. And no sooner did I get out of one relationship, I think it was in a week or so, I was in another one with this person who I've known for a couple of years. And like I said, we did, every time we'd hang out, we would be super high off something, and I think our perception was a little off, but we really did have this great connection. We really did. And we felt like it was sent from a universe, and we felt like we'd done this in a different lifetime. And usually, from what I've learned, when you consistently meet up with the same people on a different lifeline, and consistently, that tells me that every time we met up, we didn't learn something from it. So we had to keep reuniting with each other. And I don't think it helps that we're both Capricorns, because Capricorns are leaders, and they're kind of pig-headed to a degree. And but I was trying to be as open as possible to learning what she had learned. Unfortunately, the things she had learned were mainly from some rejects that live in Virginia. And what they would do is create rituals and sell them to people, because they're too damn lazy to get a real job, instead of manipulating people with these rituals. Placebo effect. And I think also a lot of the people that were following this group were rejects as well. People with mental disorders. I mean, we all have them to some certain degree based upon our past. And so, knowing that this person has or did study things that they were doing, I think the fashion that was brought to her was in a negative intention. So, it's been said that, you start to act like the people you hang out with, And so, I don't think this person intentionally wanted to be with me and then have it end. I think this person was really scared because I think the person I am, she had never been with that type of person, and it was very different. Because when I'm in a relationship with someone that deep, I give it all I can. The love, I mean, just anything I can. And when a person's used to being loved a certain way and they get the opposite, it's real scary, because I feel like that their idea, especially when they've gotten this style of love all their life, then all of a sudden somebody shows up and shows them a different style of love that's meaningful and that has like some foundation to it, that it really puts people in fear, because they're waiting for the change, because all they've known is this style of person. So they're waiting for the mask to fall off. And the thing with me is, I don't put on a mask except when I'm playing drums. As a zombie drummer, I'll go in costume because it's fun. And so I don't wear a mask. People, even at my work, usually know what kind of mood I'm in for the most part, because I can't hide my feelings. I wear it on my face, I wear it on my sleeve, I wear it in my, wear it on my body language, and people know. People pick up on it. So I've kind of been a little down about having to close this chapter, but another side of me has been kind of uplifted in the same aspect, because there's no more walking on eggshells or trying to figure out trigger words that's not going to put oneself into a different personality or a different mood, or an indifferent mood per se, rather than negative, but just indifferent towards me. And so it's been like I said, it's been a great learning lesson. But man, I have just, all these relationships I've been in, I've tried to help and try to be the example, and then I get to a point where my spirit says no more, because you don't have much more to give. You're wearing yourself down. And that's what sucks about being a people pleaser. Especially when it comes to romantic relationships. You always want to do, at least for me, I always want to do my best, because, I came from a broken home, and when I was 9, my parents, after 22 years, divorced, and I couldn't understand it. And so, me myself, I've been married 4 times since I was 18. And so it seemed like I was always trying to accomplish like a good relationship, because I watched what my parents went through. And I'm sure at first it was great back in the day, but I mean, they both cheated on each other. So I really didn't want to be a person like that. But having seen that and gone through it as a kid and watched it happen, I have been the one to cheat before, and it's not who I am. But I think my upbringing maybe has something to do with the reasons behind. I'm not trying to blame anybody, but you monkey see, monkey do sometimes, and it blows my mind. The instances where I've done that, it just really blows my mind. I've cheated twice, and I beat myself up left and right over the last time, and it put me in a spot of, oh shit, I gotta get my shit together. And instead of collecting my stuff and trying to refigure what I'm doing, I just acted out. In some cases, I just tried to numb out as well, because I just didn't know what to do with the feelings. To those who do see this, I know I don't have a lot of followers right now, and I'm not really trying to gain a lot of followers at this time. But if you do see this video, drop a comment about, or a line about a scenario you've been through like this and what you did. I really felt like I was going to collaborate with this person. She kind of made me believe that we were going to be this power couple that was just going to be the most healing and helping combined energy source to be able to help people. I truly believed it, and that's why I started my channel. I was getting ready to collaborate with this person. We had all kinds of ideas. She had the most ideas, and I was just going to follow suit, and we were going to talk about the topic she'd come up with based on experience. And so now, of course, it's just me, which is fine. Now I'm at a point where I'm just vlogging my thoughts and my feelings, and hopefully a little solution based to how to get through these thoughts and feelings without having to get loaded or trip or drink or any of that, Now I'm kind of going back to where I was about 5 years ago, when I wasn't doing any of that. And my last divorce, I talked about it and wrote about it and shared with people what I was going through, the thoughts, feelings, ideas, like I was told to. But then I just gave in and, started smoking weed again. Now I got my med card, and I've still got in trouble for it, and that's why I'm living at work. I think it has plenty to do with the state I'm in, as far as living in this state, because I think it's helped me, my state of mind, a lot, really, because it doesn't really affect me. It just kind of makes things a little bit lighter, and I can actually focus a little more on what I'm trying to figure out or what I'm trying to do in some cases. So it's been, weed is a godsend when I don't abuse it. Now, when I do abuse it, then it gets a little overrated and things get dull and things aren't as focused, because I'm doing it all the time, so I don't really reap the benefits. Too much of anything is usually a bad thing, even if it's healthy. So when I get bad thoughts or bad ideas, I kind of come here and I vent a little bit about them, and it's kind of the way I alchemize not allowing it to control my life. I don't have to act upon my feelings. I don't have to act out. Like, I didn't act out towards this person because they didn't act the way I wanted them to. I accepted it and gave my thoughts about it, and I moved on. I didn't really want to hear any responses, because when I get a response or people say, I know, that tells me directly that they're not listening to what I have to say. So therefore, nothing's being accounted for on my end, and it's just their thoughts at this point, and it's a total waste of time. Like, I can plant the seed but I can't water it for you. That's their job. So now I'm getting back to focusing on myself rather than my relationship, because I get sidetracked with relationships a lot. Always worried about what the other person thinks. I'm to the point where whatever people think about me nowadays, it's really not my business. I really don't care, because what I care about are my thoughts about myself, and they can really be manipulated by other people's expectations and how they respond when I don't live up to them. I can allow their actions to manipulate my thoughts about myself, and I really have to be careful with that, because that takes me in a place that really is not necessary to go. People talk about shadow work. I do shadow work all the time on a daily basis, because it's part of my maintenance. Like, if there's something that had happened yesterday that I'm not happy about, the reaction that was made by myself, and that's what I consider shadow work. I need to, I got some work to do. How can I better the situation that has caused me to second guess who I really am through acting out in ways I don't normally. There's a lot of traits I do carry from my father that I have to keep in the forefront of my head when dealing with certain people, because I can tell you right now, my father would not have put up with a lot of the stuff that I have with my romantic relationships. He does have a close relationship, and I think he sticks with it because, what else is he gonna do? For me, I'm at a point in my life where I don't need the disrespect. I don't need to water people's seeds. It's not something I can do. I don't got the energy. I can still send out healing energy to people that I'm not too excited to be around per se, because of the energy they take from me. But I can still give it out and kind of put up a shield for myself. Me and this person that I just kind of had to walk away from used to have this ritual. We do a shielding prayer, and we rewrote this shielding prayer to attain to our connection and to our relationship, which I felt like it was one of the most specialist parts of my day, to be able to talk to this person and to be able to recite or say this prayer together all at the same time. I thought it was a beautiful way to start a union for the day, and it made me feel like we had each other's backs and that we were supporting each other. And now I just say it to myself rather than with someone else, or with that person, I should say. I don't think I'd ever be able to recite that with another relationship like that again. It was kind of like a sacred moment for us to intertwine our spirits and feel safe. And at this point, as far as romantic relationships go, oh boy, I don't feel safe with anyone necessarily at this point. And it's not all because of the past. It's just, I guess it is, the experiences I've had in romantic relationships and marriages and stuff like that, like, will get going really well for like a while, and then someone would give up. And I feel like the majority of the time it's always been the other person, because I will set boundaries and kind of let them down a little bit, because, you know, it's not black and white. There's a lot of gray areas. It's about putting myself in other people's shoes to understand why they react the way they do. And if it's under circumstances that make sense to me, then I can bend my boundaries a little bit. And it's really tough when you're trying to have a relationship with somebody who's really been in the darkness about love, true feelings, true connection, and they've never had that before. It's really hard to stick around with somebody who's expecting the worst all the time. So I had to pull my boundaries back up and just say la vie at this point, because my spirit ain't got the room for that type of energy to be flowing through. I'm living at my rope's end, you know. Not only that, you know, the energy this person brought was very dark, very low energy. At first it was high, but I think it was sort of like a manic mask that was put on for a while. And then once they figured that they had me and it scared them, they started acting out, you know. And there wasn't nothing that I could say or do that was going to change their assumptions about me. Even though my actions always showed that I do have integrity and I stick to my word. I keep my word. And so, yeah, it's been one of those situations where I'm like, okay, I can look at it one of two ways. I've been duped again, or I'm just relearning something again that I missed or that I've forgotten. Because I have changed a lot. I've changed a lot several times in this lifetime. And I've been that scholarly type person in some people's eyes that had everything. And now, because of the position I sit in now, I feel like I get judged a lot. Because I don't have this or I don't have that. And not a lot of people understand that these are things that I didn't necessarily want or necessarily need. So judge me, you know. It's fine. Just because I don't got a place of my own, a bed, you know, that doesn't make me any less of a person. So I try to keep that in mind, because a lot of times I can go down a dark hole about where I'm at and the choices I made. But I gotta understand it all happened for a reason. There's something that I miss. So I'm going to continue to move forward in my journey as usual and do the work and move forward. I don't think I will be getting in any romantic relationships. It's just I've been through a handful of them, and it's a lot of work, and I don't think my energy, and I don't think I have it in me. My thoughts and ideas have gotten a little skewed due to this last relationship and the relationship before it, because they were almost one and the same. It was a couple months of seeing somebody in need and trying to be an example to moving to a higher frequency than what they were in. And the seed was definitely planted, but my energy just couldn't take the rejection anymore, I guess. I can stand by and allow people to control my emotions and feelings, you know. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't shield myself correctly because I was willing to give this person my heart, not knowing if they were going to cherish it or squash it, per se. Because every time, eventually, it seems like it gets squashed. Now, I was in a relationship for about 2.5, almost 3 years. That was really good, and then she decided to, you know, go back to her hometown, and I had no interest in going to that town and trying to acquire work. And I just let it go, and I did end up cheating on that person because as time went by and we stopped talking as much and we stopped seeing each other. And I think this pertains a lot to this last relationship, is because I was told that by authority I couldn't live with her because of having certain things in the house, and those things weren't going to be rid of to appease my probation officer. And I totally understand it and get it. I think that all happened for a reason, you know. And that reason I'll eventually find out or see the bigger picture, because right now I'm too close to it. Everything is temporary. Everything. Thoughts, emotions, lives, perceptions. They can change like that, you know. And I have to keep myself aware of that. Because this last person I thought I was going to spend the rest of this life with. And I was really looking forward to it. I was excited about it. But because of all the work she has to do on herself and the work I have to do on myself, I don't think our spirits were actually ready for that. And I kind of felt like a scapegoat for this person to get out of her bad situation, which is fine. But I don't think they really put themselves in my shoes to act accordingly for things to work. Even on a friendship level, you know, it's hard to go from romantic to friendship. It just, Benjamin Button, that stuff, that's hard to do. It's not impossible though, but at this point, since I thought we resonated on energies and we have some of the same ideas, but a lot of different ideas, and it's fine for couples to have different outlooks on things and different motivations. And I think as long as the intention and main outcome are that of the same, it can be moved through, and it can be a really successful union. But as we move forward and see how much, you know, another thing about this, things started almost seeming like a competition, because every scenario that I was going through, it turned into a scenario about this person rather than me. So that made me feel like my importance in the relationship was not that great. When you're trying to share something with somebody and you just need to vent, but they got to add their 2 cents all the time, And I'm guilty of that a lot as well. And so that's another learning thing that I'm still going through. Sometimes you just need to be there to let people and not have an opinion or not have an idea or not have an experience. The only reason why I always brought through experiences or talked about my experiences when someone's going through a rough time was just to assure them that I know what they're going through, because there's only roughly about 5 to 6 emotions that we experience through different tragedies or situations, and we've all been through them. And that's all that should matter, really, in my mind. We've all been through those emotions, and those emotions are the things that really can make or break us, depending on how we allow those emotions to show up in our life, and how we alchemize our energies to acting out on a loved one, or trying to find a more creative outlet, whether it be therapy, music, art, sports, anything, to allow that energy to be without having to affect other people, in a sense, in an indifferent way, that is. Because my whole thing, the zombie drummer, got started, I used it as my alter ego. When I'm behind the mask and behind the drums, I could escape. I could be whatever I wanted to be behind that mask. If I want to be angry, I could be angry. If I want to be sad, I could be sad. And I wouldn't have to have an explanation, because I'm behind a mask. Nobody's seeing what's going on behind that mask. And it was a good way to have an outlet for my indifferent or negative thoughts, emotions. And then after a while, it turned into a way to accentuate Reiki energy through my drums, to expand out to a group of people or a person the energy I was creating. And I used the drums as a tool to heighten the frequency of that, or allow it to be seen or known. So it's been I've had a very interesting life, as far as like some of the weirdest stuff has really happened to me, where it's like, oh, what a coincidence, and where I don't believe in coincidences, it's like, oh, there's all a message behind everything, because it really is. So now I'm in the process of moving on, as far as rebalancing my thoughts and looking at the bigger picture of what I really need to be doing for myself, rather than what I need to be doing for us, pertaining to whomever I'm with at the time. Because I really am a lover. I'm about love. I'm about peace. The bad part is I am stubborn, but I have learned to be more open to learn new things. And I'm just going to keep on moving forward, moving upwards, because I have no intention of doing anything else. So, if you have any comments, you like what you heard, subscribe, send me a thumbs up, send me a hello message, anything will do. Anything is fine. I wouldn't suggest sending me a fuck you, so please don't do that. But no. Namaste to you. The weirdness in me honors and uplifts the weirdness in you. Have a great evening.